Welcome to the recording for Web Design Unit 5, and as you can see, Unit 5 is the final project. So I'm over here on the left under Final Project, and this video will help you work your way through this work. Now, this final project, it consists of a website where you're going to research 4 people. Now this says in these 4 people from these areas, but it can be whatever you want. It can be TV, music, movies. That's fine with me. So if you're doing science, you do 4 scientists. If you're into math, you do 4 mathematicians. Athletes, you do 4 athletes. So you choose 4 from whichever area you choose. And again, you can do music, you can do movies, TV, that's fine. And in your research, you're going to want to find out all of these things about your 4 people, each of your 4 people. So you're going to do some research on a couple of different websites, and Wikipedia would be an acceptable website to use, but then you'll need to use another site. And at least 2 different websites for each person. And you're going to take notes. So don't just send me something copy and pasted. I want it in your own words in a word processing program. And remember, you need to copyright. You need the copyright information for the resources you use. So the web address where you got the information, the title of the page, the author, and the date that you got it from the web page. Now you'll also end up using some images, so find some images for them. And you probably want to find 2 images for each person. And you're going to make an images folder inside your Unit 5 folder to put your pictures. And make sure you get the copyright information for the images. Remember the URL of where you got the images. You should know how to do that by now. Now don't wait until you finish your research to start the assignments. You can start doing the early assignments immediately. Now there's some work that says doing CSS. You do not have to worry about CSS. Don't worry about that. Don't do it. You can if you want to, but don't have to. Now on this, you can see all the grades for this. This is worth a lot of points. This is almost 200 points. So that's nearly 20% of your grade for this whole class. So you need to turn in all of these, and I'll talk about each of these assignments. So I just hit the next button. So the first assignment is called Project Plan. And in Project Plan, what you do is you plan it out on a sheet of paper. And you could draw this out if you want to and then send me a picture of it. Or you could do it in a Word program and make boxes. You could do it in PowerPoint and make boxes. However you can get it to me. But it needs to be something similar to this. So you can see that this is an extensive one, but most of you will probably choose to do like the 9-page one. So if you're doing a 9-page one, think about this. You're going to have your index page, which is your main page, right? Called index. And then you'll have pages for each of your 2 pages for each of your people. So I might have 2 pages like this for John Elway, 2 pages like this for Peyton Manning, if I'm doing Bronco quarterbacks or something. So if I was just doing a 9-page, then I'd have this, then I'd have 2 pages for each person. Now, because I have 2 pages, that doesn't mean I leave out education and achievements. It just means that I take education and achievements and I put them on one of these other pages. Or you could have a bunch of pages. So you can see this website would be a 17-page website, but you're just required to do a 9-page. And I'll show you an example of what this might look like. So you're going to decide on the topic and the people you want to research, put that information in your plan, use a graphics program or some sort of drawing program to somehow give me a picture of what your layout is going to be. Include the location of the nav bar, the titles, the images, etc. So you can see how that is done up here. The navigation bar, the person has it on the left for this sample. And you will save it to your Unit 5 folder. Just call it Plan. It's fine. And you also, in your Unit 5 folder, make a folder for each person you're researching. Then send me the Unit 5 folder. So you're going to get graded on what your plan looks like, so what this looks like. And you'll get graded on having a folder for each of your 5 or each of your 4 people. I'm going to show you an example that one of your classmates did. So if you take a look, she's going to do great hockey players. That's going to be the title. This is her index page, this top one. She's going to have Wayne Gretzky, Chris Pronger, Brett Hull. You can see the names. So she'll have a picture of each of them. Then she's going to have her navigation bar down below here. Now you could also just make like the players' names right here. Those could be your navigation bar. That would be fine. So that's going to be her index page. And then her other pages, like this would be all the Wayne Gretzky, or this would be the Wayne Gretzky information. So she's going to have this at the title for Wayne Gretzky, the first page of Wayne Gretzky, an image of Wayne Gretzky, info about Wayne Gretzky. Then she's going to have, so this will be info about Wayne Gretzky. Then she'll have a link to the next page for Wayne Gretzky, which would link right down to the achievements page for Wayne Gretzky. So you can see how she has this all laid out. You can also see that once she creates this, then this is going to be her nav bar over here, navigation bar. So on this one, this person has 2 pages for each hockey player. So of course it ends up being 8 pages for the people and then 1 index page. Now as you go through this, you'll create the index page, and then I'll show you in a little bit how what you do is you create this 1 page for your first person, and then you just continue to use that same page for all your other people, and that way it keeps the colors the same and all of that. All you have to do is just change the information. So this is a good plan. This is a really good layout. And of course the pages not only have to link to the other players' pages, but the pages like Gretzky's page will have to link from Gretzky to Gretzky's info. So both of his pages have to link to one another. Alright, so that's how your layout will work. So let me get back to the course. That's that assignment. Next assignment is color and style. Do not have to do the CSS. Don't worry about doing the CSS. Do not worry about that. But you do have to write this essay. This says 200 to 250 words. That's a lot. So you might end up being around 100 words, a couple of paragraphs. Explain the look of your site. Make sure you talk about background color or images you use. The style of your text. The title. What color is it going to be? What style or graphics you might use. What's the navigation bar going to appear like? Where's it going to be located? Things like that. Paragraph on why you're using the colors and styles you've chosen. And this you could just call it essay. That would be fine. And save it in your Unit 5 folder. Then zip your Unit 5 folder. So this one would go pretty fast. Easy 24 points. But again, you do not have to do the CSS part. Next, research work. So your research work, you're going to turn in your notes and the graphics that you're going to use. And remember, you have to have at least 1 photo for each person. I'd recommend 2 photos because you're going to have a photo on the index page for the person, and then you want to have maybe a different photo that you would use twice on that person's each of that person's 2 pages. So think about that. Okay. The graphics, you'll make sure that all of them are in your images folder. That's the way that the links will work properly. Make sure you resize the graphics. Give them a proper file name. If I have a picture of 2 pictures of Elway, one I'd call Elway 1 and the other I'd call Elway 2 probably. It makes it so much easier for me to remember what the images are. And use JPEG. Make sure you use JPEG images. And you want to, and then in your word processing program, you're going to list all your images and you're going to do the citations. So one part of this assignment is turning in the images, or not the images, but a document discussing your images with info about all the images. That's one part of this assignment. And the second part of this assignment, and it can actually all be on the same paper, same page, maybe 2 pages, is you're going to have a separate section for each person. And so you'll type in the person's name in their section, you'll type the copyright information from your first source, and then you'll put all the information gathered from that source. And you repeat this for all of your people. So you can put all 4 people in the same document. So when you turn this in, I'll have a section for all 4 of your people, or you'll have a section for all 4 of your people with the information you're going to use in your report and citing where you got that information. And then you're turning in up here, you're going to have on another page the list of the images you're using, the URLs of where you found them, so that I know what you're doing. So that's this assignment, and that's 30 points. Next we move on. This talks about templates and using the template mode within NVU. I recommend you not do that because we're not using CSS for this, so you really don't have to use the template part of this. But I will show you something that make it easier for you as you do your work. So the subpages, as this says, the subpages should look the same, except the content will be different, but they should have the same backgrounds, colors, and things like that. So that's really going to be your base document, which you use to create everything else. So don't worry about the CSS. Or the template. Don't worry about that. So if your page is going to look similar to this, then you're going to want to repeat using that page, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. And remember, as you do this work, so you're going to have a title for each person. You're going to have in your own words, the text typed in, and all of that, right? And you're going to save the pages for each person inside their own folder. Now this template assignment, it says use a template, but I'll show you what I mean. You don't have to use a template, but you will create similar pages. Okay? You want to make sure as you start doing the links that they link together and all of that. Okay, then finally, as you go through it, you can look at this to grade yourself, to see what you did, and turn in your final project. And this just talks about the final component to it. The final component to it would be creating your index page. And don't worry about this that says template and all that. Don't worry about it. So here's an example of somebody's page, somebody's index page. And if this were live, I'd probably be able to click on the picture of Einstein or the word Einstein, and then it would go to Einstein's page number 1, Plato's page number 1, Pythagoras' page number 1. So that's how you want to make sure those things link. And that's your final submission. That's going to be worth 60 points. So now that we've discussed all this, let's go look at how you might do some of this work. So I'm going to go into NVU. So here I am in NVU, and the first thing I want to do is create my index page. So to get my index page, I see that I'm going to have 2 rows, and mine's going to have actually 2 rows and 4 columns. So I'm going to create a table with 2 rows, 4 columns. Oh, 2 rows, 4 columns. There we go. And the first thing I want to do right up here at the top, I want to combine all those. So I'm going to right click, and I'm going to join all of those cells. That's going to be my title. So the title goes here. So the title goes here, and then I'll highlight that. I want that to be centered, maybe make it a little bit larger. I can even change the color of the title. I can do all kinds of things to it. So the title goes here, and then down here, picture of person 1, and then name of person 1. Then of course this one's going to be picture of person 2, name of person 2, etc. And as I do this for, if I do this for all 4 of these, then of course it'll all even out. So then once I have this done, this is going to end up being my index page. So I would go up and do File, Save As, and this would be my Denver quarterbacks. Maybe that's going to be the name of my topic. My Denver quarterbacks. I'll hit OK. Then of course I need to get this saved. So here I am in the Unit 5 folder, and I'm going to call this for the file name Denver Quarterbacks, all one word. Denver Quarterbacks, all one word. Then it's going to save it as an HTML file, which is fine. Then I hit save. So I have this saved. So this is my index page. But now, so I've created that. Now I want to create my the page that I'll be using. It's going to be a blank document, not a template. Now I'm in a different page here, and I want to create the first one I'm going to use. And I want to show you. Actually, I'll do it in this one. So on this one, this is going to be the one for the players pages. And let me figure out what the dimensions of this table will be. So I've decided my player pages are going to be 5 rows, 2 columns. So here's my player page. And watch what I do with this. I want these to be combined. Oops, I did 4 rows. So let me see if I can highlight that, right click, insert another row. So there, now I have 5 rows. I want these to all be combined over here. So I highlight all those, right click, I'm going to join those selected cells. So that's going to be all one area over here. But now over here, I'm going to shorten this up. This is going to be my nav bar over here. So this is going to say home page. This is going to say Elway. This will say Manning. And some of you don't know, but there used to be Jake Plummer was a quarterback, and Craig Morton was a long-time quarterback for Broncos. So this is going to be my nav bar. Remember what I'm doing, I'm creating this. I'm going to reuse this for all of the people that I set up. So now over here is where I want to start putting in my information. So actually, I want to do a slight change to this. So I really just want to join these 4 cells over here, these 4 rows. So now I'm going to go ahead and join those. And now here's the reason I did that, is I'm going to put John Elway. He's going to be the first page I'm going to create. So I put John Elway in there, and then down here is going to be picture of Elway. Then all my information about Elway is going to go down here. Or actually, it's going to be some of my information about Elway. Some of my information about Elway is going to go below. So I have the picture of him and some of my information. Now over here, this is going to be my nav area. So this will be home page. This will be Elway, Manning, Plummer, and Craig Morton. So now you can see how I have this set up. And once I have this, and I want to do some fancy stuff to this. So maybe this area over here, I'm going to right click on all those cells and table cell properties. So I'm in all those cells, and I'm going to put some background color on all those cells. Do kind of actually a little bit of an orange for Broncos, right? So I put a little background color. Whoops. What didn't I do here? Table cell properties. Okay. We need to hit apply. Let's see. Not sure what's going on with that. Okay, I figured out the issue with that. You cannot put shadows on a bunch of cells at one time. You have to go individually. So if I'm right here in the Manning cell, then I right click, table cell properties, go down here, choose that color, okay, okay. So then I can do it that way. And you see this one over here, I just right clicked in the cell, table cell properties, went to the color, and I chose a little darker orange. So you can see how that can be done. So I'm kind of making my tables a little bit fancy. Now I also want to do all of this stuff while I'm here. So maybe John Elway's name is going to be a little bit bigger, and I'll center it. So John Elway's name, I'll do that. And maybe I want to make this a reddish, or actually blue, right? For Broncos. So I have John Elway's name like that, and then I can change the text on all of these, make it a little bit bigger. I can change like some of my information about Elway. I could change the color of that text. So I'm creating this. Now if I was doing this full blown, I'd of course make all of these things look correct and all of that. So that's what this is basically going to look like. So this is my first page. So I'd go up and I'll do File, Save As, and this will be, I'm going to call it John Elway. John Elway page 1, and I hit OK. And of course when I actually save it in my Unit 5 folder, I'm going to call it I'm just going to call it Elway 1, because I know it's the first page for John Elway, right? So I save that. So now I have that one saved. Okay, now the work that I can do with this is so now that I have the basic page for John Elway done, of course the one thing about the research you did before, remember you had that Word document that you did research in? After you've typed all that in your Word document for the research, all you have to do is just copy and paste from that Word document right into here, and your text will go in here. So that's what I would recommend. I'm going to make one more change on this before I do other stuff. So I'm going to put, well, of course, that's going to be an actual picture, but I'm going to make my text, since I'm doing Bronco theme, I'm going to change the color of my text. So I'm going to go right here, and I want that text to be blue. Hopefully I can see it okay. Yes, now it's not easy to see, so maybe I'll lighten up this orange a little bit. Table cell properties, maybe slightly lighter orange. There. So now that blue is going to be a little bit easier to see. I could also highlight this and give it a different font. Like Arial, maybe. Arial is probably much easier to read, right? So you can see the different things you can do with it. So let's say this is exactly what I want all of my pages to look like. Then, so I have this one saved, Control S for Elway, and now I'll do now I want to make changes to this, so now I have to put in Peyton Manning, right? So I do Peyton Manning, and then this would be of the picture of Manning, information about Manning, and that's all I have to change, because these are going to stay the same over here, the nav bar. So I would do this, and now check this out. I do File, Save As, and instead of saving as Elway 1, I'm just going to save this as what? Obviously Manning 1, right? Save as Manning 1, then save. Now you're going to have, and that still says John Elway page, and I don't know how to change the way those tabs are, because that's not our John Elway page, that's our Manning page, and I'm not sure how to fix that. So you may be able to figure it out, but I have not been able to figure out how to change this part, because again, that's the, well, actually the way you can do it, check this out. I'll go to the source and watch this. That says John Elway page. We know that that's the title, right? This is Manning page. Does it let me, oh, right here, watch this. So this is one reason we learned earlier why you want to know about coding. Check that out. I did Peyton Manning page, and I go back to normal, and that changed it to Peyton Manning page 1. Then I would do File, Save As, Manning 1, save. So that's how you can fix this up here. So now if I go through all this, File, I'm going to go ahead and open that LWay1 page. So there's my LWay1 page, there's my Peyton Manning page. So you can see how all of that stuff works. And then of course to do the navigation, let me give you an example of the navigation. So I want homepage to navigate to something. And actually what I should have done on my Elway page, I want to do all these navigations first. So homepage, I want that to link, and homepage is going to link to Denver quarterbacks. Then I'll hit OK. The Elway link, whatever page it's on, that's going to link to the LWay1 page, the Manning page, that's going to link to the Manning page, and then of course my others, if I had those pages, then I would do those links. So really, now that I made the John Elway page, then I would go and change that into the Manning page. So I need to do File, Save for the Elway page. Then I would link it to the Manning page. Now the other thing you have to have on these is individually is link to Elway page 2, because you want these pages to link to one another. So as you do all this work, you're going to have your nav bar over here, so things link, and then you're going to have the links from like the John Elway page 1 to the John Elway page 2. So you need to be careful as you do that stuff. And we want to So be careful as you do that stuff. Alright, so that is the way that you do this work for whatever your topic ends up being. And let's see if there's anything else. I don't think there's anything else, but the whole idea here, I'll go ahead and close that one. The whole idea here is to create your first page and then use it, duplicate it. Oh, NVIDIA stop. So you want to save often, okay? So create your first page, then go in and duplicate it to create it for your second person, third person, fourth person to save yourself lots of work. Remember, all your pages need to look similar. And NVIDIA stopped working, so I guess we're done. So thanks everybody. I look forward to your work coming in on this. Bye.